Yes, so good day and welcome once again to the talk. It's always a pleasure being here. So I'm always happy to be here. Now today I'm gonna talk about something that is happening currently in our Tri-Island state, and it actually refers to the influence of business people in our country today. Now we know that for a country to run properly, there must be commerce. Commerce is important in basically any successful economy. Okay, so we have to understand that. But then looking at things historically, I mean, in different countries, our country, the countries of America, and other places like that. How do people actually runs a country like a business? Okay, how? Now, for all, for all, I mean, so I have to laugh right now because think about it for a moment, right? A guy like Donald Trump, who professed to be a real businessman, okay, he professed to be the best businessman. He said that he wrote the art of the deal, so he could handle stuff, and then he would run the country as a successful business. Now, a lot of people get caught up with that and say he's the right man because basically it's like the country is like a business. So you have to run the country like a business and you have the know-how. Lo and behold, that 4 years, I think, is the 4 years in my life that I vomit the most because we get to realize that Donald didn't have a clue, okay? He didn't have a clue about running a business, much less running a country. And from where I sit or stand or lie, I think he made the most mess you could think about in the history of presidents, because he go in there as this businessman and he'll be able to take care of the country through his business experience and stuff. But then we also had information that all his so-called businesses that he had or say he had actually failed, okay? So that didn't work. Now, in Grenada here, the businessman came to light. So he realized that with this corona pandemic going around, a lot of businesses seems to have X amount of power, whatever it is they have. But anyway, the situation is this. We heard one businessman said that the government basically should hand over the airport to the business communities because the business community will do a better job of running the airport. The truth of the matter is, from where I am and for knowledge that I have, the government of Grenada is doing a really good business with the airport. They are handling it properly. Okay, you have no problems. They are handling it properly. But here comes a businessman with all his business and his monies and everything, you know, thinking that he could control our ports, he could control our ports, he could control how we live because we have to smile for everybody who comes in. If we don't smile, then, okay, then, well, we get fired. Right. That is basically the outlook or the persona of a businessman. It's as ruthless like that. It's nothing humanitarian about that. It's all about the business. It's all about the commodities. So when you're dealing with this business, you're not dealing with people, basically, with this mentality. It's about commodities, right? People are not commodities. People are people, and you have to deal with people as people. But if somebody don't smile, then they could lose their job. That is the attitude of a businessman who want to run our international airport. Now, I am not saying that there aren't business people out there who actually are humanitarians. Yes, I should use that word. They like people. They love people. I am not saying that. But the average businessman like these guys that want to run your country, these guys that deal in so many big corporations, they have no love for, for anybody. You understand? Their idea of business is success, win, lose a job. Regardless of who die, who gets sick, who get dropped out, it doesn't matter. The movement must go on. And that is what we're supposed to be looking at. And they have the right to do that in that sense, yeah, based on the authority given to them by other people in authority. People who make them feel that they have the right to do their people whatever they want to do. Now, we are in this pandemic, and now the business people now, that is not a law in this country. You understand? There is not a law in this country indicating that you have to have or you have to get coronavirus injection or vaccination, as a compulsory. There is no law that states that it is mandatory. Yet, the business people have, or maybe they have the right, based on utterances from leaders, that they could make it mandatory for people who work with them. And to me, that is violating people's rights, because there is no way in the Constitution that say that. So going about and doing their own thing in something that is national, international, regional, and making their own decisions seems to me as though there goes a community all by itself, an independent government by itself. And that is not good. Now, we have a next one now who they say maybe he was an ambassador. I don't care much about who they are and what they do. You understand? The point I am making is this, that I realize that every Tom, Dick, and Harry, especially those in the business sector these days, some of them, and I'm not talking about our normal local businessmen, I'm talking about businessmen, we don't even know where they come from, most of them. They have a big say in how we run our country right now, because they can't take it anymore, they say. I don't know, maybe they realize something that we don't realize as yet, and maybe they find that a boat is sinking, so all rats jump out of boat when boat is sinking. Maybe something is there that we don't know about. You understand? But to protect themselves, they want to take in front. You understand? We don't know about that. We just have to sit and observe. You understand? And know how to function when time is correct. Because trust me, most of the time, we know the devil we have. Sometimes we doesn't know the devil we get. I'm saying that. Don't take this thing out of context. You understand? Now, so those leaders give these people this authority to fire people if they don't take corona injection. I think that's a cop-out. I think that is a very dangerous precedent to set. I think it is like that, and we have to get rid of this thing. I am saying that businesses are important. And with everything that happened in Grenada in relation to business people for the past number of years, is that business people seems to always have a right, even over the people. Business people get a whole lot of concessions, which the normal man on the ground who's struggling don't get. He don't have money, but he would not get a concession. He would not get a help. Business people get that. They have millions of dollars, they get concessions. They get all the help that is required. They get lands that poor people won't get. You understand? All in the name of investment that actually, as far as I am concerned, does not benefit our people. Because if we have 10 businesses, new businesses from wherever they come from, outside of the country, and they come here and they employ 100 people, and then they could fire them when they want, when they like, how does that influence our people in a positive way? If we have those businesses and those businesses actually are banking their monies overseas and they are not actually investing it in our country, how does that benefit our country? You see, those are the things that we have to look at. We could have a lot of buildings, yeah, we have a lot of hotels, pretty hotels, man. Hotels with plenty rooms. Plenty tourists could be coming through these hotels. But the only money that Grenada basically is getting is the tourists buy a little trinket on the street. Because all the money that passing through the hotels and the money that passing through different areas where these people control, when they collect this money, most of the money don't bank in Grenada. You understand? They don't have it here. Maybe the only money they might have in Grenada is money which they might want to put in to pay the small pittances to their workers. So how does that benefit our country? You understand? I'm just saying and talking from a layman term, right? So we still seen a lot of hotels building. We still seen a lot of employment rising sky high. And we have been seeing that since before the corona, you know. So we have to be very careful, because let me tell you this. If you decide to give up our little island into the hands of the business community, then we will be back to slavery in the true sense of the word. You understand? Because I don't think there is so much laws here, you understand, that regulates businesses. You know, that could be, I mean, laws that could regulate the businesses in the sense that it will benefit the employees. There isn't much. We just have this dotish little um, minimum wage act that they enacted some years ago. You don't have anything much. They could fire you. Sometimes I just wonder, where is the real unions? I'm not talking about the jokey unions, the real unions. You see? Now, if we have good laws that govern businesses in Grenada, do you think we would have any chance, not even chance, but do you think we would have any reason to even join a union? We have been working on this independence thing for years, and there's a lot of loopholes that a lot of people get away from. You understand? So you find that if you have good laws that govern businesses here, we don't need unions, because people will just have to go with what the law says. And if they are found not to be doing what the law said in relation to the employees and everything like that, then there is a court, and the court could deal with that. Then you don't need unions. You understand? You don't need unions, because whether it is the government, whether it is the private sector, the private businesses, they have to go with what the law said, but we doesn't. But then we do things when it's convenient to us, so we leave a lot of loopholes so we could bend and twist and maybe, who knows, steal from the country and stuff like that. We could do that, you know. So we could definitely say that the business sector is on free rein now. Typical example. We have a situation in Grenada where we do have the um, the minimum wages act, which we could say is $8, right? Now, the businesses that you could find most commonplace in Grenada as it is the Indian community businesses. Yes, they do employ black people. They do employ native Grenadians. But the question I'm going to ask here is, how much do those people get when they mount up? The fact that we have a minimum wage act in Grenada, how much do those people get? The people who work with them, how much do they get? Let me tell you something, and it's not a question of we have to envy them or anything. These people, money does not stay in Grenada. You understand? Yes, they might build a big house sometimes. But think about it for a moment. Since I was a little boy, you find that you will see an Indian store. And after a period of time, the people who are in the Indian store is no more. You can't see them anymore, but then you see a younger generation come. And it's every time it recycles like that. So family come, family go. Family come, make their fortune and you all here. They send back the people to go home and retire in luxury. And they send their cousin, they send their son, they send their grandson, and just like that. So here is a breeding ground for foreign businessmen. I am not gonna say foreign investors because I does not see where they invest in our people, in our community. I does not see that. So if they come here and they spend maybe $250,000, let's say as it is right now for citizenship, due to investment. I don't know how this thing runs. As I said, I'm talking as a layperson. So if they spend these kind of monies for that money that they get, that they actually paid, as a matter of fact, which the government get or whosoever get, where is this money going? How does it reflect in our community? When they get a piece of land to lease for X amount of millions or whatever they do, how does this money reflect in our community? The normal layman who walks around and cut bush by the road or do little work to survive, how does that little money reflect in his world? It doesn't. It doesn't. So then the question is, as I said, I support businesses. I support businesses in our country. We must have business for the thing to get moved, for things to move. But do we have the right kind of laws so that businesses could follow, right? Whereby our people would not be exploited or, let's say, taken advantage of. Do we have that? You see, because even that business in SGU down there, where the people will just say that you must be vaccinated, so maybe even if you have to throw garbage, you have to be vaccinated to walk down there. That's crazy. You cannot or you should not be trying to trample on people's rights because there is a lot of people down there who don't want to take the vaccination. But then what the business people do, they don't care about you and what you think. They don't care about what you like. They just don't care. What they care about, their business must run the way they want it to run. So then if you don't want to adhere to the taking of the vaccination, that means you're out of a job. If you attack a man's livelihood, it's like you attack a man's life, right? I hope you people know that. And if you attack a man's life and he realizes that you attack his life, then he look at you as a threat to his life in a very, 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 very serious manner. I hope you understand that. Now, so SGU decide, well, the business they're running is independent of all laws and everything else. They have their own things going. Let me tell you something. A day will come when most of you people will swallow what you're all doing. Serious. Right? So then every little business, a little Indian could say, well, you can't really work here again because you're not vaccinated. And then this person lost their job, they're out on the street, struggling to cope. Because if you have a principle and you decide you're not taking it, then you'll have to give up your job, I guess. And then you're out there, and all you have to do is to get like-minded people as yourself. You understand? Get like-minded people, and then do what you gotta do. Because you see, at the end of the day, not everybody will conform to what is happening in this country. And not everybody will allow themselves to be manipulated like that, because there is a thing you call principle. You understand? You have some people, they have principle. You have some people, they will sell their grandmother for a loaf of bread, and maybe even half a loaf. But then there are other people now, they're not going against the principle once they are sure that it is correct. But then most of us here now is in our country who live in semi-poverty, which they know the vast population suffer in that way. They will use them as a means to get the COVID injection and control them like that. Break their will. Why you try to break somebody's will? Somebody would say that they're not taking this vaccination, but business people control employment, so they decide, okay, well, I will break your will. You'll be like a mule to me, a dumb. Whether you like it or not, if you don't do that, you would not get work, you would not get pay. And that is madness. And the crazy thing about it, which we're supposed to break away from, is that every time we have elections, regardless of who running, you know what they always promise you? They promise you work. So that is all you're good for. To work, not to think, not to reason, work. So you go and you vote for work. And then the minute time when election over and you can't get a job, then you start querying, where is the work? Because you vote for work. So are you going to tell me that is all you're here to do? To work? So when they come and they promise you work, you go, you vote for them for work. Now they're going to use the same work and have you taking vaccination. Watch, that is bondage. That is slavery. You see, you have people out here who rather die than live that way. That is bondage and that is slavery. And where that coming from? It's actually coming from most leaders, and they give the authority to the business sector because it looks as though they are weak towards the business sector. I mean, you don't have to compromise your principles for a few dollars. If you love your people, if you want your people to be upful, yeah, I use the word upful. You want your people to be right up front, counted among the best. Then you have to treat them as human beings. And then you have to make sure that your people think intelligently. You have to defend your people. You have to treat them as people, not as just things, or just your subjects. Nobody not your subjects. You teach them, you treat them as your means of doing what you want to do. You cannot manipulate people like that. That is witchcraft. Those things are witchcraft. As I said, I personally, and I think most everybody do, in the sense, we like businesses. But you see, the majority of businesses you see out there is not about people. It's not about contributing to the people. The truth of the matter is not. It's not about loving the people. No, it's about profits by any means necessary. And these people function like sharks. There is a reason why people like Donald Trump couldn't have succeeded in his tenure as president, because this man actually have no love for people. If he see money, if he see gold, and that is where he is. But he has no love for people. He doesn't even have just a little compassion, a little feelings, a little sympathy. He just don't for anybody. He don't feel sorry for people. When people find themselves in tragedies, he don't feel empathy. He don't feel anything. Because his whole life, though he was not a proper businessman as far as I'm concerned, but throughout his whole life, it was never about people. That is what those people in those fields do. It was never about people. It's all about the profit and how to make a deal, which he can't even make a good deal for himself. And because of that, he failed miserably in the presidency because he did not have the leadership qualities that it requires to deal with people. You see, there is a difference. You could be a boss, but you're not a leader. When you run in a country, you have to have that leadership quality, and that leadership qualities that is required could only come by or from someone who actually and genuinely loves somebody or love people, and you want to see people do good for real. You see, you have to be this kind of selfless person. You have to be the shepherd that will attack the lion for the sheep, not leave the sheep for the lion to eat, or tell the lion, well, you could eat a couple of sheep, no problem. No, you are not a leader. You have to be that kind of leader. You have to be the kind of leader that will give his life for his friend, for the people. That is the kind of leaders we know. That is the kind of leaders we will talk about. That's the kind of leaders we will look forward to. Not some opportunistic person who look at people as commodities. No, we don't need that. So as it is right now, the the business community seems as though they are eyeing, you see, they are currently eyeing the leadership of our country. Serious. They are doing that. And if that happens, then eventually certain laws will be passed once they find themselves in the leadership of the country. Certain laws will pass where, well, you'll be kind of surprised to see that everything will just go benefiting the business people. They might even have, well, let me put it like this. They might try to get rid of all the small businesses. Or probably might just leave the small businesses as props. They will create laws that will oppress the small businesses, because that is what these people do. Think about it for a moment. We have a minister of health, right? Health. Health where you deal directly with people. The man is a businessman. The man is a total businessman, I'm telling you, but he is the Minister of Health. Where you deal with people, people, everything in health is about people. It's not about car, it's not about van, it's not about bus, it's people. But then, the people in the health community and the people in the sick community, they have a problem with that, because the man really not on people. You see, and that's the truth. I mean, we could see it any day in the hospitals, we could see it any day, anytime around, people will talk about it. He's not on people. So that means he is actually doing the wrong thing. Maybe guys like that should just stay and do what they do and leave the leadership for people who have leadership qualities, people who love people. It's simple as that. Because to be a leader in Grenada, you have to be a special kind of person. You know, it's not anybody could just come and say, well, they want to run Grenada. What do you think Grenada is? Let me tell you something. Back in the days of Gary, Eric Matthew Gary, enough respect anyway. In those days when he used to be doing what he do, it had business people that were just sucking the daylight out of him there. Yeah. It had business people that was just sucking the marrow out of Grenadian thing. The business people was his friends. The business people was his partners. Those are the people that will, come and have party with him, give him gifts and stuff like that. Those people. And currently it seems as though it's the same thing that is happening now. Why is it that most of the people that are crying out right now, plenty, it's the small businesses, the people that maybe get a little loan from the government, hanging out by themselves now. These people balling. When you try to sell something somewhere, the police on your back. Because people trying to survive, your little business have to disappear. With everything that is happening now, that is what I'm talking about. So the question is, why are we cleaning the streets? With this, the small businessmen working to get a little product sell. But we don't want them on the streets anymore selling. Because why? We want the road open and clean so tourists and then could walk. That is madness. You see, we as a people, we are trying to solve. If we only get a chance, we don't even bother with government and then, you could sell and do a little thing for yourself, and because we are industrious. So if we could do our little things, we don't even bother with government and what they do. But still, they would not leave you alone. Because you have business people who say that these people selling the same things that they're selling, so it's competition against them. So they don't want you around there. Instead of that, we throw them across in River Road in the stadium, hide them far. Let the people survive. You see, a normal businessman on the street wouldn't jump up and say, well, give us the airport. We could do it better, insulting people. Telling the world, as a matter of fact, that we the business people could run Grenada as a business. We could do better than this government and them. This government and them doesn't know how to run an airport, and the government actually is running the airport properly. So that means that so-called businessman or whosoever he is made a direct attack on our leadership in this country, on our country as a whole. And these are the ungrateful people who come here and get lands for little and nothing. You understand? These are the people who come here and get lands for little and nothing. You understand? In our country. And they want to turn around and insult people. Let me tell you something. I am saying it. The greatest thing this government here could do right now for Grenadian people, the best thing that this government here could do for our country is make that minimum wages act, you could bring that up to $10 and make it across the board. Make it across the board for everybody. Now let me tell you this. If you don't want to bring it up to $10, that is okay. $8 you could do, $8 it is there, make it across the board. You make sure that every Indian store in our country every Indian store pay the people $8 an hour. Anywhere you walk, if you walk with somebody cutting bush, let them pay the people $8 an hour across the board. And if you all could do that, that is one of the best things you could do for a vast portion of our population, because we have a lot of people working for those Indian people. $700, $800 a month. That is crazy. Let the people pay the people the $8 an hour. And if they do that, they'll be following the law. Then they wouldn't have to watch us cross-eyed when we go inside the store. Because most of the time, when they have 2 black people or 3 black people walking in the store, they see a next black person coming, they find into black, they're watching your hand. They look at you like a thief. And those kind of things. Let these people know that this is our country. And if you're working here, I don't have to, if you come here to work to make a living, you have to follow the law. And Grenadians don't have to lick anybody's ass to get a job. You understand? Show some integrity. You understand? Don't put on your people for other people, because that is a slave mentality. You understand what I'm saying? Do that. And once you could do that and you uplift the people in this country, we'll be okay. We'll be okay. You know, insert some pride in our country. You know, insert some pride that we welcome your business, everything. Yes, we do. We welcome your business, but what we would not welcome is the exploitation of our people. And if any government could do that, that is about the best thing it could do. Let me tell you this before I wind up. When Maurice Bishop was in power, sometimes we have to reference, we must reference Maurice Bishop and his government, because trust me, there is a lot of things that they did that if we had followed today, we would not be in this mess today. You understand? Seriously. But I will tell you this. When Maurice Bishop see what was happening in this country with the poor people, the working class, that is who I'm talking about here right now. When he see what was happening, he created the NIS. He didn't create the NIS like the NIS in a way that the NIS making money to pay anybody, you know. He wasn't doing that, you know. No. He didn't create the NIS whereby the government have to be under pressure to make money to put in the NIS to give anybody, you know. Oh no, he didn't do that. What he did, he created the NIS that if I work, right, for $100, then I could put 4% there. And I work the 4%, I put my 4%, at the time, it's different now. I put 4%, then the employer put 5%. Why the employer put 5%? Because that would save the employer. Listen carefully. That would save the employer from have to give you a pension. You see, he secure you, because with that 4% and 5% there, if you change jobs and this employer go through the same procedure, the 4%, 5% procedure, what would happen is, it doesn't matter how much job you change, but your account will be there with your pension, whatever you do, it will be there. So if you work 2 years with somebody and they put your NIS in there, you understand. You don't have to go and ask this person for a pension. You work the next 2 years with somebody, they put it there, and everything is concentrated there. Nobody have problems. It's as simple as that. So then the layman, the man on the ground working, he always has something saving, something there for him. And the fact that he is working with the employer will be contributing every time, you know, on the amount that he is putting. And that is proper. That is in effect right now, and that is about the best thing that could happen. Now, if you put up the minimum wage currently, right? You put it to, well, it's at $8, but you put it across the board, so everybody is responsible for paying that. That will be a law in Grenada. Like it, I don't like it, it makes no difference. That is the law, and it goes across the board. Don't let the Indian stores get away with that, because they like to get away with foolishness like that. Seriously. Let them pay the minimum wage. Okay? The NS, as a matter of fact, they should go around and checking out that. You have to look out for the poor and working class. These people are the foundation of our economy. And trust me, not the business people. Believe that. You see, the business people play a very great role in our economy, but they are not the foundation of our economy. The foundation of our economy is the working class, the lay person, the person on the ground that actually doing the work. And that's the truth. You see? But then we could come together and we could work together to build our economy without even thinking that you are better than me or I am better than you. But we just have to know what the role we play in our economy. So what the government should be doing now is to spread that across the board. So if you dig a drain for a person, if you give them a job to do and they say, okay, they charge you that job, well, that is okay. But if you're working for a person like a day work, you have to work from 8 to 4, anything like that, 8 to 4, 8 to 5, 9 to 5, pay the people their minimum wages. If there is other arrangement outside of that, is no problem. But once you're working with people, they cannot pay you less than the minimum wage per hour. Cannot. So then deal with that. Deal with it. Work on it. The hotels, let them pay the people. So the people will come out with a good money. People will be going down and working from 6 in the morning to whenever. Pay the people. Nothing under the minimum wages. Okay? Do what you gotta do. So I'm saying, don't sell your people over to business people. It's the same business people. Remember, I'm not fighting against business people, but I'm just stating. The people who call themselves business people is underhand, dirty hand people who make a business selling black people. There was a whole business selling black people over to the Americas and stuff like that, and Europe and all over the earth. That is business. And these people get away with it because there wasn't any law to regulate what these people did. Now trust me, there isn't a change in people's character, what they were and what they are now. There are still shady characters doing business out there. That is why it is important to set the laws in place to regulate and govern what these people are them do. If you had laws in place, if we put laws in place, one fella would not have jumped up and say, give us the airport to run because we could do it better. They damn out of place. Set the laws in place so your children, the people that comes after you, they would not suffer. I mean, it's a legacy that Maurice Bishop did with the NIS. Make that impact on our country. Every government that comes into our country, you have to make a particular impact. You have to set something that your people will benefit long after you're gone, because you will be gone eventually. So your people will benefit. That is why it is said, if you have no vision, well, the people perish. So because Maurice Bishop had vision, we have the NIS. Because if we didn't have the NIS, what would have become of people? Serious. Seeing that the government doesn't give pension and stuff like that, what would have become of people? That's the question. Think about that for a moment. Then the business people will just come, make their money, and just go back to their country and everything like that, and you leave people down here like starving dogs on the street. Old people back to poverty or work hand to mouth for 30, 40 years, and when you can't walk again, hand to mouth, you starve and die. That would have been the scenario. You see? So hence the reason you have to do what you have to do for your people when you could. Now that you are strong. Whether you want to raise the minimum wages and make it across the board that nobody pay anybody less than the minimum wage, it doesn't matter who they are. If you could do that, that is a start. Then basically the money goes back into the community, because trust me, we people like to spend money. You know our people like to spend money, and if you raise the minimum wage, the same people that paying them the money is going back to them anyway. But then it keeping the economy flowing nice and smooth. You wouldn't have to walk in a store and see women looking hungry, lip white. You understand? Because they're getting paid till a couple of weeks from now, and they know when they get their pay, it finish after they pay the light and the current, the light and the water, and they give their children something. It done again, so it's starvation until mountain again. We don't want that happening to our people, man. We want to keep it running. We want to keep it moving. And the way we could keep it moving is making sure that our people work for a just wage. Because trust me, and I'm telling you now, that most of those businesses out there that is not paying minimum wages, they are sharks and they are taking advantage of the people. You come and say what, when man come in and say that certain people come in and say they can't take it anymore, what happened? No, they can't take it anymore because there isn't any much to take anymore. I know that might sound real thing. It's not much to take anymore. Because right now we are in a crisis. So there isn't any much to take right now. If things were flourishing, nobody's saying nothing. So it's either a person say that they can't take anymore because he don't have more to take, or the next person saying, you know, right now, I think I'm in a bad spot, so give me the airport. We gotta be careful. People always look at you waiting for that white underbelly of yours to rip it open. You see, they always doing that, and they always look for your vulnerability. When you are vulnerable, when they find your people are against you, or that is what they tell themselves, when they find that you are at a disadvantage right now, then they come in to cut your throat. And most so-called businessmen like these people, they are cutthroats. You have to be careful. You have to be careful the people who you hang out with. I could remember once Samuel Marshall tell Bishop, he said, your enemy right in your footstool. We have to be very careful. I don't know, don't take what I'm saying in a different light. You could take it with a grain of salt, you could take it with a pound of salt, you could take it with sugar, anyhow you take it, it's you. But I pray you don't take it wrong. I'm not trying to be one-sided, and I'm not trying to be whatever. I'm just saying just like how I see it. We have to be careful. Do what you have to do for the people. Do for the people. Take care of the coins, the pennies. The pounds will take care of itself. Look towards your people. It's your people you're looking for. Look to leave a legacy. Each and every person who call themselves leaders, look to leave a legacy that people will remember you by. It's simple as that, because it doesn't make sense that you come and you live your life in a particular way, and when you go, people spitting on your grave when they pass in the cemetery. No. Do something. If you never do anything good in your life, do something good for your people. That is your responsibility. We don't require you to fix every problem. You see, that is the thing about it. That is where a lot of our leaders get confused. We don't need you to fix all our problems. You cannot fix all our problems. Don't even try. All we need you to do You could just do one thing with love for the people, and it crowns everything else. You see, just like what the Bible says, perfect love casteth out all sins. So if you could just do one thing for the people, you're good to go. Let me tell you something. Think about people who talking about the revolution was this and the revolution was that, and Bishop and them get what they want. Watch. If I was these people, I was never going to the airport. And if I was these people saying this kind of thing on them, I didn't even want NIS. The majority, the population of people love NIS because it rescued them. Right? The population of the people love the airport because it give us international status. You understand what I'm saying? The population of the people go to doctors that was trained in Cuba. And they're happy to go because they get the best kind of treatment. And that will go down in history forever. That is something that will always be on the side of Maurice Bishop's name. For everybody who are rescued with the NIS, and everybody who are very appreciative and love the airport. Otherwise, if Maurice Bishop didn't do that airport, time so you all still up in Paul's trying to get a ride on Liat. Trying to get a ride on Liat to go in Barbados to get a plane to go England. You know? Or some kind of donkey cart plane to drop you in Carriacou. Right now you could go straight on our international airport and you take a flight straight to New York. Straight to England. Yes, you could do that. And that is a legacy. Just in 4 years, that's a legacy that a leader did. So you see, everybody have a part to play. But then there are certain things, yes, currently you have houses getting up for people. But let me ask you a question. Us asking, we talking because we are Grenadian people. They have to pay back for the houses. People have to pay back for the houses. The houses are not free. All kind of pretty houses all over the place. It's not free. It's not. Because the Chinese have to get back their money. The Chinese not doing this thing free, The Chinese have to get back their money. And the way the Chinese get back their money, because that is an investment, the way the Chinese get back their money is by when the people pay. Every apartment, let's say one apartment costs $30,000. There is a whole possibility out of the $30,000 in every apartment, the Chinese will get maybe, who knows, maybe $25,000. But then they're not getting it on a lump sum, maybe not. Maybe every month when you pay the government pay the Chinese. Or maybe the government already pay the Chinese, but then you have to pay back the government the money. Whatever the arrangement, this investment is, the Chinese must get back the money. So that is not free. We have to understand that. And that is a good for the people. Low income houses, that is good. I could never say that's not good. That is good. But then we have the part of the system I always think about a lot is the working class people working for those little pittances most of the people those give them. People where they work. Not every workplace. We work in places that the people will pay your hour because that is what they do and they're okay with it. It's fine. But then you have people that work in areas, they don't get it. And that is not good. So what we want to do, you want to do something for our people that would last way beyond the time when they finish pay for the houses, because they will pay. So when they finish pay for the apartments and everything like that, what about after that? You see? So we want something that could be long lasting. I'm not saying we need an next airport. I'm not saying that we need an next hospital. I'm not saying that we need an next NIS. I'm not saying that. But then it have things that we could do. For example, the minimum wages act across the board for every Grenadian wants to start to work without no questions asked. You understand? They must do it. And then if we could do that, and that is law in our country, I think you will see the better side of Grenadians. Because trust me, when you have a happy Grenadian, you have a happy country. Anytime you have a happy Grenadian, you have a happy community. But when you start having unhappy Grenadians, then I think you have a problem. So people, be at peace, be blessed. I hope you enjoyed this video. I will most definitely see you guys in another video. So take care.